Billy, you've got a shit-eating grin on your face, which suggests to me you're already recording.
Well,
dirty bastard.
I just actually hit record when you.
Oh, there we go. That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Appalachian Podcast. Your host, Billy Riddle. With me is my literal redcoat co-host, who is sitting across from me in a redcoat today.
Indeed. Looking rather splendid in my cavalry pants, too, I might say.
I mean, you got the whole kit and caboodle. We're not at the Timcast IRL studios today. We are here in our nation's capital at the Grand Hyatt Hotel for LibertyCon by Students for Liberty. And we're a little over halfway through our trip, and this is the first time we've actually sat down and done anything recording-wise. We have been nonstop talking and meeting people and shaking hands, all this kind of stuff.
Politicking.
Yeah, politicking.
And it sucked.
We're being joined here. And who knows how this day is going to go. We're going to have different people come on. We might have single shows. We're going to have 4 or 5 people put together and put on a show, different interviews. But, you know, right now, this is kind of the intro. We're being joined by our good friend Chip Slate from being Libertarian and Abraham Lincoln.
Literally.
Mr. President, good to see you again.
Glad to be on.
I'm sure all these cameras around here probably scare you a little bit.
Half of them's got a picture of me on it by now.
They do.
I'm sure about half this entire place has pictures of y'all two here.
We have been walking around and can't go 3 steps without somebody asking to take a selfie with him. Abe Lincoln.
It's ridiculous. I expected to come up here and stick out a little bit and have some people talk to us. I did not expect the reaction we've gotten.
We've been overrun.
And it's not even outfits. This was last night before you all even got in outfits. It's something about y'all's a little bit different. That
Thanks, Billy.
It did, actually. Yeah. It started last bloody night. And we wasn't wearing this ridiculous thing.
No, it didn't. It must be the accents. It must be a plethora of different things. I have no idea.
Whatever it was last night, it kicked it off.
In more ways than one, Chip?
For sure.
Hopefully our wives won't be listening to this.
Oh, dear.
This will be the one that they do listen to. Trust me.
What a good time.
Oh,
what a good time.
Yeah. First, before we get into it, you know, shout out to, Rocky Mountain Burger Company and all the sponsors that helped us get up here today and chipped in a little bit. You know, thank y'all for helping out. This has been a huge event. We've met a lot of people. We've got a lot of people I think are going to want to come to Franklin County, to Appalachia after, meeting us up here. We're going to have some of them on the show here sooner or later. So, Brian down there at the Burger Company and everybody else that chipped in and helped out, we certainly appreciate y'all and thank y'all for making this possible.
Made a huge difference.
Absolutely. It's made a huge difference. We're up here. We planned on coming with our buddy John Clements, and he ended up not being able to make it at the last minute, which it'd been nice to have him up here mingling around these people and just having people look and ask him why in the hell he's running around with this group of slack jaws. But I'm sure he'll get his chance here in the future because I don't see us not coming back up to something like this or something similar because we've had an absolute blast.
Everybody I've talked to has been nice, wonderful. I mean, just everybody, awesome people.
Genuine. And people from all over, too. And we spoke to people from Australia and Georgia and Afghanistan. Just
everywhere.
Serbia.
Well, it's
Serbia. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
it's insane. We've had this big Indian contingent here. This is a global event.
People really like when they hear you talk, too. they know you're international and they warm up.
Yeah, it's just been an awesome experience.
It's probably a little difficult
I'm blown away
as well because normally he's the talk of the town because of his accent. Now there's so many other people around here with similar accents. He's got to find a way to use a little bit more charm. So Simon's been working a little bit harder.
Well, they think I'm international too, and I just tell them I don't know how to speak English.
Well, just let them know you're part of the.
Amos, you don't.
Here's a part of the #1 podcast in the German Baptist community.
There we go. I knew you could slide that one in there somewhere, you cheeky
that's
chappy.
What he's got to tell people. That's what he's got. He's not foreign. He's just German Baptist. It's a whole different thing. And
that was an interesting inflection.
Amos, have you always had to put up with this?
Yeah.
That was a very interesting inflection there. German.
It's getting worse, though.
Oh, no.
Oh, that was very interesting how you managed to slide that kind of D.
Well, I mean, it's the truth. You gotta call it out for what it is. Real quick too, for everybody else has helped us on Patreon, patreon.com/get on tap is where you can go to do that. All of you all have helped make this event possible as well. We've got some new stuff coming down the line here in the very near future. So we appreciate all y'all for that. Just stick around. Some good stuff coming. A lot of exposure up here we got this week. So hopefully we'll have some big shows coming up where we can invite some of y'all out too and make some things happen. I've been extremely happy about how this event's went. And we've been here with Chip from being Libertarian. He's been up here before, and it's been a little crazy. You know, we got here last night and set up at the table and have had some conversations and talked and had a few drinks.
Got to meet Tasha.
Yeah. Of course, we got to meet her when she came in back in the springtime. We've hung out with Spike and Tasha here a little bit, and there's a bunch of other big name people here we'd like to get on the show, and hopefully we'll spoke with Topher Fields, who's a film documentary maker, a big dude out of Australia. He's going to come sit down with us here in a bit. Hopefully we'll get like a show out of it.
Well, we should get Adrian on board there as well. Yeah. I'm not quite sure of the association.
Oh, you just think just because they're both from Australia that it's the same?
Well, no, I think they're doing the same. I think they're
With
bloody
the same
hell,
people?
Billy. I'm not quite, man. You mudslinging git.
I don't even know what that means, but
Sounded good.
yeah,
It did.
it rolled off the tongue right.
It
I mean-
sounded authentic, right?
That's what Simon and the blokes have in common. They can say stuff that I don't even know what it
You
means,
got
but it
no
sounds
idea.
good.
And be completely offensive.
Absolutely. Won't take long to catch that funny looking pack of dingoes.
Yeah.
Ripper sport. That was that back to cultural appropriation. I love it. There we go.
We do stick out like sore thumbs up here. Maybe that's not even a good analogy.
No, it's not.
I'm not even sure how to explain. It's almost
We stick out almost like a busted eyebrow.
Oh, shit.
Bum.
it's almost like we're a freak show because people just walk by and look like I can't believe
The
Them.
audacity of these
just
people.
to show up and look how they look. And I don't really know. I mean, maybe it was a mullet last night, but today it's the outfit y'all got going on here. And once again, after they speak with you, it's still like, wow, they're kind of intelligent.
There's an element of articulation.
We've been invited to Europe. We're
That's
doing
true.
something right.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. What was that all about?
He wants to come on the podcast.
Splendid.
Yeah,
Can
one
he-
of
can
the
he speak
gentlemen
English?
here. He's Students for Liberty for the European. I guess he's the director for European Students for Liberty, and he was like, "Yeah, y'all should come next year." And I said, "Well, we'll team up with Simon and make our way down there." And
Well, I mean, Simon, would you take us through your hometown? I mean, how would that work?
Hell no, he wouldn't take me there.
No, actually, there's a few debts that are well owed right now. One of them involved a dog food pedigree dog food curry that now has come out in the open that I fed to half a rugby team. Not good. Anyway,
What'd you tell him it was cold cereal?
they were so drunk, I told them it was a proper curry and they ate it.
Oh, my.
I did it deliberately. It was malicious.
As your attorney, I would advise you to stop salt.
Oh, I see. I think that's sound legal advice. Chunky pedigree dog food curry.
well, I'm just happy we haven't completely embarrassed ourselves up here this weekend. We've done good so far. So we're a little out of our element, but we've had an extremely good time. Encourage people to come up here next year with us. Hopefully, make it a little bit bigger and a little bit better, and hopefully they actually have us back next year. I'm guessing they will because we haven't burnt the place down, and y'all taken a lot of pictures, and we've had a really good time with it. So,
I think Abe's going to save the day. I mean, they just love
Oh,
Abe.
yeah.
I think he's
Abe.
going to as well.
Till y'all take me to Ford Theater.
Oh,
That's it. For which it's only 700 paces away. And your behaviour, you'll be heading there a lot quicker than you bloody think, mate. There's destiny in those 700 paces. Oh, mark my words, young man.
And we're gonna have to recreate that scene here at some point in time as Simon in a red coat, John Wilkes Booth. While we're here, it'd be rude.
He wasn't in a red coat.
I mean, what's the
No, he
irony?
wasn't, but I'm saying we get Simon to recreate it as a red coat.
And what's the irony that we are literally a couple of blocks from Ford Theater as he's dressed up as Abe Lincoln? I mean, it's perfect.
It's priceless.
Oh, and there's been
perfect.
so many people was like, hey, don't go to the theater. Like just walking by would look at me and be like, don't go to the theater.
Because I didn't realize we were that close.
700 paces.
And the gentleman that came up and was like, dude, I really need a picture of you. I went to Ford Theater last night. I got to have a picture of you.
Because they're not going to believe it back home, is what he was saying.
That's it.
There's been a reincarnation. Think of all the memes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, those are going to come out. Those are going to come out hot and heavy. But yeah, we've had an extremely good time here today, and I don't really know how the day's going to go. Like I said, hopefully there's a couple people we might get in for an hour show or something and really speak to. There might be people here and there that drop by for 10 or 15 minutes. So this is an intro right here. I'm guessing this is going to be one where we just have people drop in and drop by. So we're going to sign off for now and come back with our first guest here momentarily. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with our first guest of the event, and one that a lot of you people are going to know for probably different reasons. Up here we got John Stossels and your Spike Cohen's and Joe Jorgens. There's a lot of people in the Liberty world you're going to recognize this young man for a completely different reason, and he's on here today for a big part of Chip Slate and being Libertarian. So I'm going to let Chip introduce him and kind of explain how this all came together.
Well, we've got Jaiden Rodriguez with us here today. He was in Colorado, lives in Colorado, as I understand, and was going to school, had his Don't Tread on Me Gadsden flag patch on his backpack, and his teacher decided that was racist and that was not allowed, and he stood up. And so we appreciate that spirit that Jaiden has, and excited to have him here on the podcast with his mother, too.
Thanks for having me, guys.
It's great to have you.
It's good to be here, too.
Now, we've had a little bit of a chat offline, and I think you're quite the firecracker, too. So I believe the apple probably didn't fall far from the tree with this young man here. But you had an incident that happened fairly recently.
Last August.
It was last August, and I think your actions speak volumes. And you've set the meme world on fire with what happened. So please explain to us, in your own words and in your own time, how this occurred. What was the run up to it? Was there a run up, or was it someone just being plain stupid?
So I would start at the very beginning, which would be 5th grade. He had a bunch of patches on his backpack. We're big into guns and shooting, and we've been members of the Firearms Policy Coalition since before he started this school. And he went to school with these. They're from Black Rifle Division. I think that's who makes them. And they're ghost gun patches with like different Pac-Men.
Oh, right on.
They have different guns. So there's like one Pac-Man has like an AK, the other one has an AR-15. One has the Liberator.
Nice.
Which is this 3D printed gun.
They're not Pac-Man, they're ghosts.
Ghosts, you're right.
Ghosts,
You're right. Okay. I'm correct.
Green, Blinky,
yeah.
Pinky.
And then he's missing this one because one of his siblings tore it off, and they play with the patches too. So which is very frustrating to him. But there was an ATF Pac-Man. So get it, the ATF goes after the ghosts, the guns,
Oh, and they do too.
we know. And so he had those on his backpack for years, along with some other patches that are on his backpack. And he has been going with no problem. The school has done a mock Civil War reenactment on their land that they have at the school, which is really cool. They had guns, like not real guns, but like imitation cap guns. So they make the sound,
Oh, that's wild.
So we all had those as lads. I mean, this isn't something that isn't uncommon. So probably everyone that's listening
in the school.
Oh, right. Yes.
And I picked this school for this kind of like conservative, kind of cool. Like I found out they did this and I was like, wow, this is the school I want him to go to. I actually had him going to a school that was 5 minutes from the house, and I moved him 30 minutes from the house in the hood, a far drive each way, just so we could have this classical curriculum where they reenact the Civil War like that. You don't learn more from doing. Like doing teaches you way more than school ever does. But school is still important.
And they're getting rid of the classical, literature. So it's great that, he had that experience. And I agree with you.
I think you chose very wisely.
Yeah, they read Tom Sawyer in 5th grade too, where it says this word, and this teacher just says, yes, it says this, but we're going to move past that. And, lots of schools don't have this because they don't want their kids being triggered, but they talk through it, which is what you should do. They have these reenactments. And it wasn't an issue until this year. And that's when we had the vice principal call him up. He said, Mom, They're making a big deal out of it. And I talked to the assistant principal and I was like, hey, I'm calling because you have a problem or someone has a problem with the patches. I want to know, like, I understand that you view it as, something that could trigger this teacher. We as a family do this as a sport. We'd go to IDPA. This is like our bonding sport, like some kids like soccer. We like shooting. It's the same thing.
So what's the problem with the individual teacher, or was the problem created by a new policy that the school had changed?
There isn't any new policy. It was just a teacher that was in the junior high that had left-leaning views and said that the patch triggered her, or the gun patches triggered her. So, I said, since this is a classical school and you have this classical curriculum, this year you're studying the American Revolution. So I'm asking, you have pictures in these books with muskets and Thomas Jefferson overthrowing the government. What patches can he wear? Like if I were to get a patch made of Jefferson holding a musket, could he wear that? And, cause that would support, what you guys are learning. And, we could partner together with.
Well, you're trying to find a compromise.
Yeah.
Well, and that's, you know what? I think that's very magnanimous of you. You didn't even have to do that.
I'm nice sometimes.
Oh, well, and I get it. That was very cute. So continue.
But yeah, and so she said, you know what? You've made a lot of excellent points. It is a sport for you guys. And I don't know if the Thomas Jefferson with a musket would be allowed. It seems like it would be.
Allowed by whom?
The school.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher or the school?
The school.
So it's just changed policy. It's just changed policy.
Well, there's actually nothing in the rule book, and I brought that up too. I was like, I've looked at the student handbook, and there's nothing in the school's handbook that bars pictures of or patches of, because they have this uniform. It's actually, he can wear Oxford shirts like he's wearing now, or he can wear polos. And I think polos, they look so used after a few washes, where Oxfords keep their integrity. And I can buy them.
And you can always get starch and put a good crease in the sleeve.
Yeah,
quite
pretty.
right.
They do. He looks
Of
cute.
course.
So they have uniforms, so they have a policy.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, he wasn't violating the policy, clearly.
No, at all. And they have other kids who have pins with, gay pride flags and things like that. And that's cool.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You've got to take a patch off. You take all that crap off too.
Yeah. But so they were like, okay, we'll think about it and I'll get back to you. He can keep on his gun patches for now. And I was like, thank you so much. I love that we could talk about this and have this conversation.
At that point, it was reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay. What changed?
So, and I had brought up that there's nothing in their code that said anything about this. So then I get a call about a week later and they're all like, hey, we're having a problem with the gun patches. And there's a district policy. So the school went to the district rules to try to find something because there wasn't anything.
Right.
So they said, there's a policy about wearing anything about drugs, alcohol or firearms, or tobacco. And, he's breaking this district policy that we have about it. So he has to take them off. And I was like, okay, can we meet about this, like face to face and talk about this? And I went in and talked to the vice principal.
Is that where the picture comes from? No. Okay.
The video. No, that was later.
Okay.
So we talked with, I talked to the vice principal again and I actually recorded it and, but just voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, I love this school. I used the reading curriculum that you have to teach my kids how to read, 2 of them. It's a great curriculum. And I love sending my kids reading to school before kindergarten because they're just so much more advanced when you do that. So thank you for that. You've taught me so much. I love, the Civil War reenactment. I love this school so much. And I thought we had the same values. And that's why I chose this school. So why is this an issue for him to have these patches when, he's pro Second Amendment. He's not a bad kid. And everyone's like, no, we don't see him as a bad kid. We don't see him as a threat. What we just feel like, those images can trigger people and, we'd rather have him take them off. And I was like, okay, so like which patches? And Also, I urge you to maybe contact a lawyer about this because I don't want to sue the school. I really love this school. Like, please don't make me
You're
sue.
doing
you gave them
Civil War reenactments, right? Which was probably one of the most brutal wars in recent history. And then they're saying, and if that isn't going to trigger something, they're going to say an innocuous patch on a young boy's backpack is going to be a trigger.
Well, who's it triggered anyway? Probably most of his class probably didn't even understand what it meant anyway. I would guess.
His crush His crush Sophie didn't even know what.
Oh, we've got a crush. Oh dear. Well, we're not going to embarrass a poor young man about that.
She looked it up after and was impressed and was like, "Wow, you knew what this was? Like, that's so cool. I just learned about it. You read so many books. I don't. That's awesome that you do this stuff." And it was pretty cool for him to be looked at like that from her, I think. So, but anyway, so they, I was all like, look, if you can fire these cap guns around kids and have them not be triggered, then how is these patches
exactly exactly
going to be triggering to these kids? And so please contact a lawyer, you guys, please. I don't want to have to sue you, but the ACLU says if you allow hats with feminism pussycat ears, the pink hat, then you have to allow the NRA hat too. And FPC is just like the NRA. They just actually do stuff. They sue the state. They don't just talk.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
So like that's our firearms, coalition thing of choice. That's our NRA of choice. Just like there's NAGR, and there's Gun Owners of America, which now he has a Gun Owners of America patch on his backpack.
Big GOA guy here. Yeah.
I like GOA. I just feel like FPC does more.
They and I like FPC too. I don't hate FPC at all.
And
The
they're spicy
NRA
about
is
it.
kind of my issue.
They're
It's like
spicy about it. Which I like. I like the sassy massies of the world.
there you go.
Very, fun. This one's my little sassy massy over here.
Yeah, but he's very articulate about how he described this situation. I mean, he's got a very articulate
He's smart about it.
brain, can present himself, I think, extremely well. And we're going to get you on the microphone fairly shortly because
Okay.
I want you to tell me the next step in this saga. So what happened next?
So my mom sent it to Connor Boyack, my favorite author of the Tuttle Twins.
Well, no, we're at where we were just gonna have a conversation. I was like, please don't make me sue you. And then were you present for that? Okay.
Well, fill in the gaps, Mum,
Well, we
and then we'll get to you.
we had the talk where I recorded it, and then I sent him back to school, and then you wanted to run for vice president. So then we sewed on the vote for Jaiden for VP, and it just said that vote for Jaiden for VP, and then it said revolution on the bottom with love.
The Ron Paul, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so he went in like that, and we took off all the gun patches. This was after they told us, to do this. We took off all the gun patches to make room for that, but we left on an FPC patch and the don't tell him the curl pew red don't tell him me one.
That's
We
great.
left that on. And then he just went to school and still disobeyed with, the FPC patch. And they came to me and sent another email home saying, like, he can't have the FPC patch or the don't tell on me. They called it the snake patch. The only one he's allowed.
Snake patch.
What do they call the Doge?
The wolf.
The wolf.
They call Doge a wolf?
Yeah. They're all like,
Corgi or whatever.
That's crazy.
yeah, he said uncultured swine.
Perfect.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
That sounds like something Simon would say.
It does.
Just heathens.
But yeah, so I contacted FPC and I was like, look, my kid's having this issue. They said, okay, we're going to put a lawyer on it. Give us 3 weeks to get you a lawyer. But in the meantime, take it off so he doesn't get kicked out of school. And that was even a huge, hurt of taking, he didn't want to take it off. He's like, are you sure I have to take off the FPC patch? And I was like, yeah, man, you got to take it off or they could, that's what let's just do what the lawyer, told us to do until they can get a lawyer on it. So we took off the FPC patch because it had a weapon on it, the AR-15. And that's what they had sourced was, the code, the district code, any images of weapons. And we took off the don't tell on me, the curl pew patch. It replaced the FPC patch with, what did we replace FPC with? the St. Michael,
Okay.
I think. Yeah. It was the St. Michael. Because I wanted to see if they were gonna have a problem with St. Michael, because St. Michael has a sword.
Oh, good call.
So if they had a problem with that,
So does the state patch of Virginia, but they decided to sheathe the sword to make it a little bit more PC.
yeah. I mean, they're still standing on a tyrant's head, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Anyways, so he went back to school with a removed FPC patch instead of St. Michael with a sword, and then the actual Gadsden flag, which is a historical. And I was like, they won't mess with him. It's a historical flag. This is a school that's learning about these historical flags. They have it in the textbooks. There can be no problems when I send him back to school with St. Michael. If they do, they're treading, because that's a
religious liberty.
Religious.
Right.
And so they can't say anything about that, and they can't say anything about that.
You thought
Let's
you were
send him back
golden.
to school. Yeah. We're still giving them the finger, but
They know it's coming, right?
they can't say anything. What
That's
are
right.
they going to say? And so they still had a problem. I got a phone call, and he's like, I think my rights are being violated. And I was
Nice.
like, what? And he's
Jade,
like,
that's
yeah, they have a problem with the Gadsden flag now. And I was like, no way. And I get there, and sure enough,
they had a problem. with
that's the
Gadsden.
video that became viral. So, and take it from there.
That's just
So tell us all about it. Tell us how that
that
came
meeting
up
go?
that day, where it was just like, we got a problem with the Gadsden patch.
I was in the front office, and my mom walks in, and my baby brothers were there, and you probably saw the stroller in the viral video, but we were in the meeting room, and the vice principal, the liberal lady, well, not liberal lady, the accused liberal lady that was like, you need to take it off, and the dean was in there, and they had a meeting about how I had to take it off because the administration apparently had a problem with it, and she kept on bringing the administration up because she didn't really have an argument to my mom's.
That's because they're cowards,
Saying that-
by the
That's it.
way.
That's it.
It's a
cowardly.
Revolutionary War
yeah.
flag, and she's like, "Well, well, I can't back up my argument, so I'm just gonna bring up the administration's policies, to try and get you to back down and take it off."
Yeah, in which
Stand firm.
I said, I was like, Jaiden, do you want to take it off? And he said,
What'd you say to that?
No.
Good.
That was a fairly resolute no. I think that's an outstanding response
And that's why
without using profanity. And I think you did very well to control yourself, because I may not have been quite as
I
polite.
did a little bit. So there was the dean and the VP, and I was like, look,
This is
I know,
bullying.
I know
It
you're
is.
just doing your job, just like the Nazis were just doing theirs. And I said this.
Oh,
I was
good
all
for
like,
you.
just like the Nazis. I don't hold any hard feelings against the Nazis. The Nazis were just trying to feed your families, right? Their families, like you're just trying to feed your families, probably have babies at home that you want to feed.
Priceless argument.
So, I get it. And I'm not resentful at all. I'm not upset. I don't hold that against you. You're just doing your job like the Nazis. So, but if you could, I would like to talk to your boss and see what he has to say. And if he did talk to a lawyer about this, because this is just the ACLU clearly states that the NRA hat, if our hats are allowed, NRA hats are allowed. And so are, the feminist, pussycat hats. Yep. And this is the same thing as an NRA hat. The NRA logo has two muskets, right? Or just maybe a rifle. It has a gun in it. So if that's allowed, then that's allowed. And yeah, he came in, and I called my old man. I was all like, do you want to say anything? Because they want Jaiden to take this off. Do you have anything to say? And there was like, bleep, bleep, blippity bleeps. Like, I was in the army and I fought for freedom. What freedom is here? This is bull crap. This is freedom of speech that you're just trampling all over. I fought, and my friends died for this. And, the guy was all like, oh, well, I was, I was a veteran too. And I was in the Air Force.
I was going to say probably Air Force. Probably Air Force.
Probably doing origami.
That's from the Army.
Colorado Springs is a huge military town. And this podcast talked about this that we saw. And this guy was like, Air Force. He probably wasn't a pilot.
He's a maintainer.
Touche.
I thought that was hilarious.
That's great.
But
So you responded with a no.
Yeah.
And that was a firm no. That wasn't a little, no. You gave him a good firm no.
Yeah.
So then what happened?
Then my mom just like continued to say, "You do realize that the ACLU says that you can wear this and that, and like that's her prompt, that's her line. She memorized it." But they said, "Okay, well," and I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm at least gonna get myself." And they're like, "No, what? You can't go in the hallway. We can't have you going in the hallway with those patches."
Oh my God.
What? What am I? Do you think I'm infected with coronavirus?
Oh, touche. Good job.
So I couldn't even get my binders and books. Like,
so they
I was kind
actually
of like, it was they basically suspended me without like making it
Official, yeah.
official.
So another coward's approach to the subject matter
Yeah,
is
like,
what we're looking at.
You're
They're
done.
cowards.
They booted me.
That's right.
So like threatening. Yeah, we have to threaten you.
How old were you at the time?
What?
How old were you when this was
12.
going on?
I turned
So they're
13
threatening a
last December.
12-year-old young boy who stood up for himself.
Isn't that incredible? That's
I'm
amazing. We need more of
pretty
this.
upset.
So when did y'all, when did it kind of kick off? When did you realize that everybody and their cousin on the internet was sharing your stuff? Big names and celebrities were giving him praise. Like, how long after until that all started coming down?
So when it went viral, really, it got like 100,000 views. I'm like, that's so much.
Wait for it.
55
Right.
million. What?
How many?
55 million.
Holy
Million
That's
now.
just on Connors too.
That's
You know,
wild.
there's been so many
Think
people
of the
dislike-
repost.
Oh, yeah, you're already on it.
That don't get counted. Yeah.
So what have you learned from this experience?
Do not tread on someone's freedom of speech.
Amen. Amen.
I don't even think that's a lesson. He probably already knew that. He's the one having to teach him.
How disgusting.
It is.
So who are some cool people that you've met in the meantime that you've really, really enjoyed meeting? Like,
I got to meet Ben Shapiro. I got to meet Vivek. I got to talk to Tucker Carlson.
Right on.
Those are just a few. I got to talk to Charlie Kirk. AP for Liberty was one of my highlights too.
Mm-hmm.
Just to name a few.
Awesome.
So what is the situation now with the school and the patches? Have they backed down?
Yeah.
Or here's a word for you. Let them know that they have capitulated.
I will.
That'll really rub them the wrong way.
We're going to see on the news in 4 months. He's going to be back on there using that word, and we're going to hit up Simon. And
No, they've been allowing him to wear all the patches that you see on him today. That's how he goes to school now.
I
Good
mean,
man.
So now they've backed.
spineless
So, like,
cowards.
Well,
They expected us to just bend the knee and be all like, "Oh, we don't want him to miss school because it's such a prestigious. It's the #1 school in Colorado Springs. Their test scores are amazing. All the smart kids go there. That's like the nerd school. So
that's awesome.
yeah, they just thought we'd say, okay, we'll take it off.
Well done. Very well.
Seriously.
Both of you. Because that took both of you to do that. Standing firm.
And
Love it.
And it's spreading. That's what I love about things like this is that you get to spread that. It's amazing.
So what do your classmates think?
They were like,
Because you're a rock star now, right?
yeah, but before before the video went viral, they were like, bro, I think you should just take it off. And like one kid even said, F the First Amendment, F that. I'm like,
Whoa.
what?
No.
You can't do that.
No.
Number one, you can't use that language. And number two, our First Amendment rights are probably one of the most precious rights that we have, right?
Amen.
Yeah.
There you go.
The first protects the second.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Indeed.
so what
Wow.
kind of future plans do you have? I mean, what's next for you all? You have anything?
I
Anything
don't
big
know.
planned?
I think God has a plan for me, and I don't really know what that is. I mean, I hope that I could run for president, or maybe even at least a governor of Colorado. Maybe even Texas. Governor of Texas would be better. But I don't know.
Maybe,
Well,
maybe
you're-
Governor of Wyoming.
You got plenty of time to think about it.
Exactly. You're a very articulate, put together young man. So the sky's
you
the
ins-
limit, right?
You inspired a lot of adults. I think that's a bit, and I mean, that's a huge thing. There's a lot of adults out there who you inspired, but hopefully you inspired a lot of kids as well, like a lot of children to say, hey, question things, ask. You don't have to be disrespectful because that's the thing. weren't in the least bit disrespectful about it. Now, she probably took it that way with that little
Smirk.
grin like a possum eating you know what, but I'd have had that grin too if I knew I was getting ready
Assault
to
smirk.
Right.
put them in their rightful position. So I mean, it's there's a lot of kids out there that I hope parents are also showing it to their children, saying, "Hey, look, you don't have to back down. You can be respectful and stand up for yourself." And I really hope that ends up being the case. I hope a lot of people have done that.
I wonder if the school policy will be amended to reflect this said capitulation.
That's what we're trying to do.
That's
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So.
I think there's a good
Fantastic.
chance.
I think this is a great story. I think you're a rock star.
It is,
Amen.
absolutely. And we're glad y'all made it out east. Is this y'all's first time you've made it this direction since it happened?
Yeah, he was saying in the airplane, because I showed him where we were at. He's like, I can feel my freedoms deteriorating as the more northeast.
Trust me, when we drove
For the
in,
hive.
when we drove into DC, I was saying to Billy and Amos, "Man, I feel as though we're in the nest of vipers."
You're
And
exactly right.
I was on the money.
Yeah, I said it feels evil here.
It really
really
does.
does.
I mean, it's got a, especially how it's become lately. You know, it used to be a symbol of freedom, but
Yeah.
now it's just a symbol of corruption and basically just the top of the heat. Just the crap runs downhill too.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Special interests, lobbyists, and corporate greed. They're all bastards.
There you go.
But there we go. I try not to put too many bad words in the young man's mind. But
yeah, we like to
well
speak with
done.
him. We're big fans of him, and of course Spike. Have you had a chance to meet Spike yet?
Yeah, we got to meet him.
Spike is really cool.
We
Hopefully-
talked about Connor Boyack. He knows him too, and
Connor's
how I
great.
love Connor. And
Mhm.
That's the
it's
Arthur.
so I
correct?
love
It is.
the Total Twins. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
My
Yeah.
kid, I mean,
So,
the pencil.
growing up. Like I was always the crazy one to, because Grandma loves, the cops and everything like that. But I had the Tuttle Twins to show him, like, look, like this authoritative book that someone wrote says that you don't always have to trust the government. Sometimes they get it wrong. Oh, look, the
Perfect.
cops are
Sometimes.
Perfect.
treading on people's rights, and so that, and watching Robin Hood as a kid.
There you go. Yes.
Rise and rise again
Abs-
until lambs become lions.
Awesome. I love
Simon
it.
was a
He's
more
a
Men
little
in
one.
Tights fan.
Yeah, indeed. Well, actually, one of my distant relatives, not in the period of the legendary Robin Hood, was actually a sheriff of Nottingham.
How about that?
So I was a bad guy.
Man alive.
And in a red coat.
And in
In
a
a
red
red
coat.
coat.
Can it get better?
Wait, what's on the inside of that red coat? Tell us. Fire.
Flames and fire. Yeah, baby.
That doesn't look very authentic.
It's not supposed to. It's been an absolute pleasure meeting you both. And you have inspired a nation, young man.
Thank
You've done big things.
Yeah, and I hope kids can. We've just kind of seen him walking around here this weekend and doing his own thing, and I hope
Running away from his mother.
that, be a little bit more responsible. Think a little bit for yourselves, and I appreciate that. I appreciate a kid who can walk around and take care of himself, because that's how Abraham Lincoln here grew up. I mean, he was out there driving a tractor when he was 9. I mean, kids need a little bit of responsibility, and to see it, it's pretty cool.
No, he's even like, I may have helped a little with the patch situation, not just saying, take it off, boy, and go to class. But after that, what didn't get, nationwide news was they were going to have their first field trip. Where was it to? Your field trip?
The ropes course.
And they were going to have the kids, it's the first field trip since COVID. And they were going to mandate a mask thing on the bus to
good
the ropes
Lord.
court.
Does it ever end?
And he was telling me about it, and he's all like, I think it's bull crap, da-da-da. And I was like, I'll talk to them. Like, give me a day or two. Had a sick baby. He came back, and I was like, oh, yeah, I got to talk to your principal about that. And he's like, oh, don't worry. I took care of it. And I was like, you what? And yeah, tell that, Jaiden.
Yeah, let's hear that.
Jaiden.
So basically, they said that I didn't have any effect. I'm like, okay. So I was kind of very confused. I'm like, oh, cool, rope trip. And all my friends are like, and then we get to the bus procedures. Keep your hands and feet on the bus. And do not stay on the bus. I don't. However, a mask will be mandatory.
Yes.
When I had to wear a mask during the pandemic, and when I was at Jefferson School in Texas, because Texas is home to us, and that was terrible. It was It was like,
Do you remember what your mask said?
no.
Ooh.
It was made of cheesecloth
Oh, nice.
and like large holes in it. And it said, does this mask make me look compliant?
Oh, perfect. Because the other masks say this will not protect you from from airborne diseases.
We got a
So-
cheesecloth off.
That's
with
great.
Oh, well done.
Great.
I'm glad you guys are standing up for your personal
Thank you.
inalienable
Yeah,
rights.
So he got the mask mandate. Finish the story.
So basically, I went up to the principal. I'm like, I don't think that's just at all. And he's like, well, that's the school mandate. I'm like, if the school mandate said that all the kids had to bring $100 to school and give it to and donate it to the school because the school was suffering, would we still have to do that? And he's like, listen, it's the District 20's policies. I'm like, really? You know, like the pandemic is over. And also some people have medical conditions. And actually, I have a hard time breathing. And he's like, okay, well, go to class, Jaiden. I'm like, okay.
Dismissed. How bloody rude.
And then what happened?
And then the next day, the teacher's like, oh, there's been a mistake. I'm like, what, we're not going? And she's like, you don't have to wear a mask.
Oh, imagine.
It's optional. I'm like, optional. Okay.
Well done.
I like that. So it went from mandated to optional.
Yeah.
Good job, Jaiden.
Great
Thank
job.
you.
We thank y'all so very much for joining us here today and for coming by here.
Thank
and
you for
stopping
having
by.
me. I had
Dude,
a really good time.
I,
course.
We've enjoyed your
sometimes
company.
on Instagram, I see him giving it to people 2 or 3 times his age. It's that difficult because it'll be on Chip on your page, and I'll go through there and somebody will say something. He'll be roasting every single one of them. I'm like, look at this kid just triggering liberals one after the other.
You are the meme king, and I salute
It
you.
really is.
Thank you. The memes. They just like take that excerpt when I was like,
Here we go.
she was like,
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to give it away, but if you have any social media you want people to follow, give a.
so my Instagram is based backpack boy, based as in BASED. For some reason, people don't know how to spell that.
Oh dear, they need to go to your school.
That's right.
Yeah, but based backpack boy.
And you're-
Also I have a Twitter, based back but with a K boy.
Excellent.
Based
They
backpack.
had a limit on how many letters can
Yep.
be in your handles.
Yeah.
So.
So that's all from how that happens. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
being
get it.
libertarian, we had to leave the G off because it's being libertarian. Because that's the same thing. Yep.
We'll tell y'all the same we've told a lot of the people we've met here this weekend. If you ever find yourselves in Southern Virginia, near Roanoke or the moonshine capital of the world, come by and hang out because he would probably enjoy riding the 4-wheelers and shooting.
We have
ARs,
guns and
we
cannon.
got a cannon,
Yeah.
tannerite. We get
Wow.
to fish,
Cannon.
hunt,
An actual
anything you
cannon.
want.
Heck yeah.
We're just 3.5 hours away from here. Hit us up on.
Oh, that would
you've
be
got our
so
information.
cool.
Hit Chip up. If you're coming through, we'll put you
Did
up in a
you-
nice spot.
Did you go to that where they had the guillotines? Remember they were protesting?
Yes, grants.
No, they had guillotines in Virginia during a protest. Do you remember that?
I think that was in Richmond
Okay.
during the
2020.
2A protests in Richmond right
Yeah.
before COVID kicked
They
off.
had
Yeah.
ridiculous. That didn't pass though, right?
No, they ended up scaring them
Yeah.
away, so ended up helping us out.
Guillotine.
They did a good job. Yeah, absolutely. Make them great again.
Make
right.
make them fear
Absolutely. So yeah,
Americans
if y'all are
again.
ever in the area, hit us up, find us,
For sure.
put you up in a nice place, the early inn. We've got the Morris Hotel, hunting, fishing, riding the river, riding 4-wheelers, shooting tannerite, blowing stuff up. Y'all be right up his alley. So y'all have an open invitation anytime you want to come. Thank y'all very much for coming and joining us
For
this
sure.
afternoon.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you so much.
Enjoyed it.
Thanks for having us.
Of course, Jade.
Thank you, and keep being you, young man.
That's
We
right.
appreciate it.
Keep us updated.
All righty, we'll be back with our next guest here momentarily.
Pose for a picture. Let's put it that way. Right. I remember one time I was talking to Spike and his wife. There was somebody with one of them big fucking camera thingies, like zoomed in.
You dirty bastard.
What? He's got
All right.
It's been fucking recording.
So here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. We decided to split the shows up into separate ones, and we don't have our equipment set up or anything. So we decided to come on and say our goodbyes for the show with Jaiden. This is going to be our first one. Our next one's going to come out. Go to patreon.com/getontap. From there, you can go ahead and listen to the rest of our shows from Students for Liberty, our conference, LibertyCon, up here this weekend. Big shout out to everybody that came and helped. We're driving down the road right now. We don't have any of our equipment set up. I popped open the laptop, turned on the mic so we could do this. We're driving down 66. I'm not driving, obviously, but the rest of the shows will be out on for the public here in a few weeks. We had the show with Topher and our friend Adrian, the Aussies. That's going to be on Patreon coming up here soon. The show with Spike obviously will be coming up here soon, but this is the first one. Major shout out to Brian at the Burger Company for making it happen. For everybody else that chipped in and made this trip possible, we thank you. For Spike at You Are the Power, Chip at Being Libertarian, and Simon and Amos.
I don't know what you caught before all of this, but I believe I'm in trouble.
What do you think, Burt Reynolds?
I think I had a good weekend. Met a lot of cool people. Loved it. I think my picture's probably in 70 countries by now, dressed like Abraham Lincoln. I don't think they could understand me, and I couldn't understand them. But we laughed.
Yeah, we did.
Now, I guess we are recording a podcast going down the road, at least the outro. So, for this show, thanks to Jaiden Rodriguez, Base Backpack Kid, and his mom for coming on the show and giving us their time. We hope you enjoyed it, and be on the lookout for the next ones.
We drive trucks, we plow fields, we'll work from sun up until it goes back down again. We raise hell on Friday nights. It becomes Sunday morning, you can find us at the Church of Christ. It may sound like a simple life, but the living sure is fine. Yeah, where I come from, we drank moonshine. If it can be broken, it can be fixed. We come from busted knuckles and we know how to use a wrench. We raise our kids, we teach them wrong from right. Yeah, and you can bet your ass that they'll never back down from a fight. It may sound like a simple life, but the living sure is fine. Yeah, where I come from, we drank moonshine. Country music, we're turning way up high, and I can sing every word to a country boy can survive. We like our beer, we drink it ice cold, and the stuff we smoke, well, it's gotta be hand rolled. It may sound like a simple life, but it keeps me feeling high. Yeah, where I come from, we drink moonshine.